Merry Christmas, YouTube. I'm coming tonight with a response video for two different tubers. First, Caleb's Cards, TTM Autographs, and More, who is celebrating 600 subscribers, and STL Sports Cards, who is celebrating 50 subscribers. So opposite ends of the spectrum as far as subscriber count here in the YouTube community, but hope to see both channels growing in the future. And so STL Sports Cards wanted me to show my top 5 St. Louis cards, and Caleb was asking for a quote from a specific sports figure. So in order to be able to have time to do both of these, I decided to combine my entry into one. And so I'm going to show my top 5 St. Louis sports cards, and I'm going to give you, Caleb, a quote from each one of these 5 athletes there. So hope you're all good with this, and we'll get started with my number 5 St. Louis sports card. I decided my list couldn't be complete if I didn't have Ozzie Smith, so I went with probably his most iconic St. Louis card, which is his 1982 Topps Traded. And for Ozzie's quote, I think I chose a good one here. His quote was, "I sincerely believe that there is nothing truly great in any man or woman except their character, their willingness to move beyond the realm of self and into a greater realm of selflessness. Giving back is the ultimate talent in life. That is the greatest trophy on my mantle." And that's an excellent quote there, and a sentiment that I agree with, that giving back is one of the most important things we can do. So moving on to number 4, I wanted to add probably the greatest athlete in Nebraska high school sports history, as Bob Gibson, and I selected his 1967 Topps card, which is one of my favorite cards of his. And Bob had a intense and colorful personality, and his quote that I selected here is rather Charles Barkley-esque in, "Why do I have to be an example for your kid? You be an example for your own kid." And in some ways I pretty much agree with that, that if you're expecting everybody else to be an example for your kids, you're going to have them fail, and you need to be the example for them. So let's move on now to number 3. I have 1936 National Chical Premium of Jerome Dizzy Dean, and one of my favorite pre-war issues there, and this was a card that I had worked for a while to be able to find one at a price I was willing to pay. And Dizzy had a rather eccentric personality, and I think really reveled in being confounding to people, and would often kind of ham it up and play the country bumpkin act a little bit and lay it on a little thick. And one of his quotes here that I selected was, "The good Lord was good to me. He gave me a strong body, a good right arm, and a weak mind." So a little humor there with that one. And number 2, well, we definitely have to have Stan the Man Musial in our top 5 St. Louis cards, I think. So I chose my 1960 Topps card of him. And Stan had an excellent quote as well. His quote was, "Unless you give it all you've got, there isn't any sense in playing." And that's something that I can certainly endorse. Anything you're doing, it's worth doing your best. And now number 1 for my St. Louis sports cards is not a Cardinal. It is in fact a St. Louis Brown. and it is my 1953 Topps Satchel Paige card. And Satchel Paige is a truly iconic sports figure and somebody that I admire greatly, and has an excellent quote that I think you'll appreciate as well. The quote is, "Ain't no man can avoid being born average, but there ain't no man got to be common." And while it may not be beautiful grammar, it certainly is a exceptionally profound sentiment, if nothing else. So, all right, there is my top 5 and my quotes for each one. Always have to do some bonus cards, so stick around for another 1 to 2 minutes and you'll see a bunch more St. Louis Cardinal sports cards here. So thanks again, and Merry Christmas, everyone.